What's up, everybody? This is Adam Martin from F5 Project. This is our first inaugural podcast that's going to go global. So I have a couple awesome guys in here, Coss, Marte, and Marcus Bullock. Coss is he is the founder and CEO-ish. Something of of Conbody, which has studios, and I'll let workout studios, and I'll let him explain that more. And then we have Marcus Bullock, who's the founder and CEO of Flikshop. You know what? Let's just get started. Marcus, tell me why you do what you do.
We launched Flikshop because when I was in prison, my mother wrote me letters and sent me tons of pictures while I was there. She saved my life inherently because I just started to turn into this angry person while I was there. I went to prison when I was 15 years old. And after doing, after being sentenced to 8 years inside of a place where I have no idea how to operate, how to, build relationships, how to talk to people. I mean, I'm 15, 16, 17, and my cell partner's 40 and 50. I don't even know how to build a conversation with them. So I began to isolate myself. I got angry, it became violent, and my mom said, "You're not going to die in prison," and started sending me pictures of cheeseburgers. Real talk. She would send me pictures of like cheeseburgers and like pizza and like the bed at home and like, there's life after prison, and I want you to remember these things. I want you to remember that you're going to come home to this, and she wrote me 3-page letters around a picture of a mailbox with bills in it and saying, "Hey, when you get older, you're going to get bills and they're going to come here to this mailbox." And she would write a 3-page letter about it. And what happened when I came home, I had such an incredible relationship with everyone in my family because I knew everything that was happening because my mom included me in the small moments. Not like just like Thanksgiving and Christmas, but like in small moments, micro moments, we call it internally. And when I came home and I started to live my best life working, I was running another business. It was successful. My friends that were still there, they would hit me and they're like, "Dude, John, remember when you were here? You were," and I'm like, "I'm gonna write you letters. I'm gonna write you, real talk. Next week, I'm gonna write you. Tomorrow when I get back, I'm gonna write you." And I never wrote letters. Yeah. I never did. Monday turned into Tuesday. Tuesday turned into 3 weeks from now. And we have to solve this problem. So we looked in the App Store, because there's an app for everything. It's an app to help you get your coffee quicker. So yeah, I
need that app.
we well, let's build something. And so we built Flikshop, and now our users are able to stay in contact with their loved ones in prison the same way that, we post photos on Instagram.
Huh. So before we got, in the video and the audio, we were talking, and I misheard Marcus say, he was like, "Make sure you download Flikshop." And I heard download Flikshop. And so I thought there was some like secret like nudity Flikshop. But you should tell us a little bit more about like the process of like how do people use Flikshop, and because that's really like I'm a big fan of yours, man. Like what
Thank
you're
you,
doing
Adam. I appreciate you.
with the communications and like kind of disregarding the normal systems and trying to get in there and create a low price, high quality model for communications for people in prison is mind blowing, because just from personal experience, and Leonard could speak to this too, is that it's expensive to talk to your loved ones.
It's very expensive. From the phone systems to even now the tablets that are being, permeated around the country, all of the, the video visitation, like these technologies they're available, and they're technologies that you and I use every day for the cheap. And what I've learned is that a lot of these corporations that, that own these systems, they've realized that, you can kind of sort of control the market. You don't really have a choice in the matter of where you can use a phone. It's not like, you can go to Sprint or Verizon or T-Mobile or AT&T and then price shop. It's like, dude, you're going to use this one phone system. You're going to pay $18 to talk to somebody for 15 minutes, or you're going to buy this $150, tablet and, spend $1 just to be able to send an email. Versus our tool, our users are able to take a pic. The app is free. We give it away for free. But when you're sending a Flikshop, you just take a picture the same way you would on Instagram, add some quick text. "Hey, what's going on, bro? I love you. I miss you. Fargo is dope." Press send, put your phone back in your pocket, and keep moving on about your moment. And 2 days from now, we're going to take that picture and that text, print it on a real tangible postcard, and mail it directly to any person in any prison, any juvenile detention center, or any immigration facility anywhere in the country. We want to be able to keep families connected, and we want to be able to do it. Like, I feel like if we can build technologies that are smart and we're doing a good job of managing them, we can do it for the cheap. We can do it at an affordable price. We won't have to gouge the people who really can't afford it anyway.
Yeah, because the people who are paying for this are obviously not the people in prison. It's the family members.
It's the family
that are
members, yeah.
paying. Just recently I heard a guy talk about how he had to pay $5 to leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
That's
You know what I
crazy.
mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. A 5-second voicemail.
That's crazy.
And I know from personal experience with my mom and my brothers and stuff, like people who have family in their lives while they're locked up come out better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we could have all the greatest reentry tools in the world, but family is by far the magic bullet with a lot of people's lives. Not to cut you off, bro.
No, please.
Coss. So I heard about you a few years ago when I started getting into the reentry game. I started looking into Defy Ventures and some other companies, and your name just kept popping up. And so I read into you, and I was like, ex-drug dealer, right?
Yep.
Got chubby while he was in prison.
Before prison.
Okay, before prison, all that money, right? I got nothing to say, but and then it ended up becoming life-threatening, and I'll let you tell the rest.
Yeah, so when I went into prison, that's when I found out I had a lot of health issues. The first time, so when you go to Rikers Island, you really don't get any examination in there. Rikers Island is like the county jail for New York City. So when you get once you become state property and you get sent up north, we call it upstate, is when you first get like your blood tests, you get checked out, and they tell, and that's when I found out like, yo, my cholesterol levels were insane, and they put me on medication, they put me on a special diet, and one thing they recommended was to like start working out, start eating correctly. They just told me to start walking the yard, and they put me on this diet, and obviously in prison you don't get the best food. So the eating part, I didn't really control as much. I just like try to do the best. I stopped drinking the sperm killer juice from the inside, and that's what we used to call it.
The juice they used to tension inside of the cup.
Prison Kool-Aid shit.
This room just got really awkward.
And yeah, I stopped eating bread in there and just started running, man. I was like running laps around the prison yard, going back to my prison cell, doing the dips off the side of my bed, jumping jacks, push-ups, all calisthenic type of stuff, and did it nonstop, and lost 70 pounds in 6 months. Wow. That caught the other eyes of other inmates. So I started going out to the yard. People started running with me, started forming. I was the only person ever running in the yard. People would call me like Fat Forrest Gump and all these honey bun jokes and shit. And I just like kept moving, and then eventually I started, building a camaraderie with the guys that were in there. And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think I was gonna build a business out of it. I just was like, I'm gonna go out there and just work out, and that's how I spent my time. But long story short, I was released, and well, before I was released, I ended up in solitary confinement. And while I was in the box is where I came up with the idea of, coming up with Conbody, and wrote like a whole fake mini business plan, but wrote it down and was like, this is my shit. This is what I want to do. And came home and did it, did what I wrote.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so now you have studios where?
We have 2 studios in New York. And we're working on doing something in LA. So right now is a crazy time. Actually, yesterday is when we got like our final stamp approval to be on the Snapchat platform. So we're gonna have like our own prison channel. So like we want to be the voice of the formerly incarcerated individuals. Feature people. Want you on the show. Just give the real, like, what I hated about what we've all been taught behind media is that we're killers, rapists, all this fucking bullshit that media displays about formerly incarcerated people. And I want to display the realness. I want to display the camaraderie we built. I want to share the family stories that, families that took 9-hour bus trips to go see their family members. How we made a hot pot, started deep frying shit out of hot pots and shit, or like made a tattoo gun out of a CD player. Like, that's the real deal, and I want to display those stories, and that's what I'm doing right now.
That's legit. I have
So,
another, company or whatever, a sales and marketing firm, and I'll tell you, when guys, we get tons of applications from people, felon or not, right? And it's almost a prerequisite to be a felon to come work for us, mainly because of the culture. We're,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're. I mean, now we're the good old boys, right?
yeah.
But being in front of counselors and judges and lawyers and prison guards and family dynamics and stuff, like, you've learned over time, solitary confinement, you've learned over time how to adapt quickly, right? Very high social intelligence.
Yeah.
And I can just give them, every single guy that I've ever hired that's been formerly incarcerated, I give them a phone, give them a list of numbers to call. I don't even have to explain to them how to do the job.
Yeah.
People coming out of college, right, who've never been locked up or anything like that, it's like I had to babysit them,
Yeah,
Wow, yeah.
and walk
walking
them
like
through that.
dodo birds.
So obviously there's much more to Flikshop and Conbody than just business, right? There's a culture about it. There's, you get some attention, if honestly, if I was going to pick one, I'd pick Conbody, because I'm sure the women attention is crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
me too. There's nothing sexy about
Yeah,
it.
it's a temptation, man, but we gotta we gotta resist.
so outside of your guys' normal business day, what are you, I know you guys are huge advocates. I watch your Facebook, I watch your IGs and stuff. Like, what do you, I know that you have hired 20 people over the last 5 years. 19 of them are formerly incarcerated. Is there anything with your life outside of Conbody that you're doing for you, like in the movement that's happening across America?
I mean, I'm working with like politicians too. My brother just actually ran for committeeman in New York City. He won that position. So I have that in now, and he's lost twice for office. And he's did it like grassroots. So I got that in, and also working with Governor Cuomo's office. We actually changed one policy. They brought me in for a roundtable, which was crazy, to just share my story with like the head of HR of Amex and like Walmart and like all these big, huge corporations, of why they should hire people coming out of the system. And so one thing was, I brought up the fact that I started a business and I couldn't get business insurance because it was $30,000 because I had a felon. I'm a 3-time felon, but because you have a felony, you're a bigger liability. So how was I gonna afford $30,000 a month starting a business off of scratch with no real funding, except for like a couple of dollars that I got? It was impossible, and they didn't even know that. So they changed that policy, and now my insurance is like way lower than that. I'm paying like $1,000 a year. But it's insane, how many barriers that the policies that are out there that people don't even know about. I was speaking to somebody in Chicago that they have like, I think it was 1,400 policies behind, restricting former felons from doing shit, and I feel like that's the movement that I really want to push, is being a policy changer and changing perspectives, man. That's why we out here. Every day I stop somebody on the street, I pitch them Conbody, and people don't even think that I've been incarcerated. But when they see me and I speak to them, and then I tell them my story, they're like, "What? You went to prison for what?" And it's like, that erases that whole stigma. Even us, like being in Saks Fifth Avenue, we was getting like those bougie ass old ladies coming in with fucking Prada and Louis and all this shit. And we had one sign, which is funny. We had one sign that said like, Conbody, it's a prison-style boot camp. We hire formerly incarcerated people to work here. And so we would see these women like read that shit and be like, and like walk down, and we have like, I had this female instructor that was working there most of the time. So her name is Sarita. She did 22 years in prison. Would run after these people and be like, "Hey, how's it going? Why did you run away?" And give them a proper handshake and like start a real conversation and realize that that person is just a real human being.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm pushing. And I live, breathe Conbody. I'm like waking up at 5:30 in the morning, hustling till I'm dead. So.
I'll tell you, like, if there's a girl that early on walked by and saw that and then was like, "Hey boys, I mean, she's probably crazy. You know what I
Like
mean?
to see that sign is like, that's an interesting sign to read,
Yeah.
especially in Saks.
I mean, if it was one of us, you walk by and you see that sign and be like, this is dope. I'm
No
going to go
doubt,
in
no
and
doubt.
check this out. But someone who's like completely removed from
Yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah.
if they see that and they're like, this is awesome, and then like walk in, I'd be like, we need to have a little bit of a.
We had a couple of those. Yeah, we had a couple. It gets crazy, man.
You know, to kind of
tell you.
relate to you on that, like when we started building up the housing momentum in Fargo, like, you know, it's very hard. I mean, I'm sure it is in your guys' areas too. It's hard for felons to get a place to live, like sign their own leases and stuff like that, you know. And so we, you know, like if you get a DUI and you lose your license, we have special insurances out there where people can get that so they can get their license back and start driving again. We don't have that for housing, right? If you had an eviction, you're done, right? If you have a felony, you're done. And so like we just came in and we started housing guys and giving them certificates, and people just started getting housed on their own leases and like in the
Nice.
process of buying their own houses and stuff.
I had as pardon me for interrupting you, but that's another issue that I'm running into as well. Like I'm hiring these guys coming out, they don't have no family. They're, you know, some of them can't go into a shelter, and so I had times where I'm like had 4 air mattresses in the gym. 5:30 in the morning, like deflate them shits, you know, and like,
Yeah.
yo, get the fuck up. We gotta teach class now, and it's a real thing, man.
You want to
It's-
stay
it's a
here, you have
hustle.
to work out. I don't think I would have made it.
It's a
Yeah, probably
hustle.
wouldn't have been the best fit for me either.
Hopefully
Right?
there was a felon that started McDonald's. So tell me, you know, kind of run off his question. I know you started a construction company, was successful. You're in the midst of, you know, are you building capital as Flikshop? Are you guys in the black? What's going on?
Yeah. So I mean, before Flikshop, you're right. We had a construction business. I ran that. I mean, that business is still going.
Okay.
Ran that. You know, I started in 2005. I didn't launch Flikshop until 2012. So, you know, and again, going back to that original story, it was mostly because of the success that I was able to, you know, to accomplish with the construction business. My lifestyle began to change, and that's the reason why my friends really wanted to live vicariously through my moments. And you know, once we launched Flikshop, I honestly didn't even really start it as a startup. It wasn't a business that I thought that I was going to grow into what it is now. It really was for me to be able to text my friends easier. And I was like, I'm going to build this thing. It's going to be a one-off thing that it'll live in the app store. If people download it, they can. But I'm going to use it to text my boys, and I'll continue to still run this construction business. So as I'm doing kitchen remodels, and my email is just buzzing and buzzing and buzzing with new users who want to sign up for the tool, I'm like, well, this thing maybe has some legs. In fact, we didn't even launch. We weren't planning on launching on the Android market. We launched on the app, Apple, only on Apple and iOS stores, and because I had an iPhone and I wanted to use it. And I'm like, if you have an iPhone, you can use it. But then, so many users wanted to jump in. And so it's been cool because now we're growing and now we're bursting out of the seams. Now, instead of just having just the, which we call, our B2C users, our, Flikshopping you to your brother, but we have organizations and companies, corporations who are now using it as an advertising tool. We have reentry programs who are now using Flikshop to be able to make announcements about whatever their reentry program is. If there's a new thing that's going on inside of these facilities locally, a lot of these jurisdictions are saying, hey, this is the first time that we've been able to create almost like this Facebook ad looking thing, right? But this time it's going into 25,000 people inside of, the Department of Corrections, right? And so that's been really cool for us. So now I spend a lot of my time managing those larger customers, building those relationships, and really telling the story so that we can change that narrative so that when people come into their rooms, they don't treat them the way that, they do when I wear jeans and T-shirts into their office for the first time and they've never met me before. It's like, oh, we don't know who you are. Who are you here to see? What's going on? Did you sign in the building downstairs? I'm like, hey, no, I'm Marcus. Like, oh, you're Marcus from Flikshop? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, come on back. We wanted to talk. I'm like, yeah, now you want to talk to me, right?
Talk
Like,
about some of that down low Flikshop. I'm going to keep bringing that up. So tomorrow is Erasing Stigma. And you can hear more from Marcus Bullock, the CEO or founder of Flikshop, and Coss Marte, the founder and CEO of Conbody. And the First Lady, Catherine Helgas Burgum, will be speaking as well. So starts tomorrow at 8:30 a.m., goes till 4:30. Got tons of speakers, tons of panels, tons of booths, tons of vendors. It's gonna be the shit. So make sure you're there.